not simply print the truth. And that's why we are in this mess that we are in today.
Boy, I don't want to keep you much longer. I know it's Sunday. I want to thank you so much for taking time out. I mean, next week Sunday, of course, is going to be something that many of us, I mean, I am not going to view it, but it sickens, according to Rowley, it rots my gut that this is where we've reached as a country. And we also hear talk about there could be a curfew with the SOE. We don't know. Apparently, there's some conference.
Mickie K, number one, I concur with you, and any citizen of Trinidad and Tobago who can stomach to watch that, it means everything you taught your children, everything you dreamt about, whatever your skill set is, whatever you achieve or you want to achieve in life, you have been lying to yourself. Because anybody who watches that, watches someone who's only been in politics 10 years and has a track record of total failure, the worst minister of communications ever, CNMC shut down into TTT and nobody does watch that even now. Then the worst minister of national security, only saved by Fitzgerald Hines coming and surpassing him, and Martin Joseph, 539 murders, 519 murders. The worst minister of energy, a man who crippled an energy sector with, if you let a 5-year-old run it and just let them go gag, gag, go, go, we would have made billions of dollars. This clown called Smallpin went in there with Rowley, negotiated gas price in 2017. Jerry Brooks had to resign, collapse NGC, make up loss, close down Petrotrin, shut down steel plant, 11 companies at Point Lisa has gone, NGC no gas, gone to Maduro, up and back, and now Trump and Rubio looking for anybody who was bankrolling Maduro and narco trafficker. Trinidad and Tobago now in the bad glasses, bad eyes of the USA. Pressure for all of us. This is the man who have no family, leave his wife pregnant and went to the next man's wife to mash up family. And when he was the father of the girl for 10 years as the man of the house, when the girl does criminal conduct, he spits she out first time and said, "I'm not my child." That is who you all are going to watch sworn in as the greatest citizen in Trinidad and Tobago, as the most accomplished, as the one that all of us must look up to, as the one who should lead us, who should hold up red, white, and black, who when we stand for our anthem, we must think about him as a leader. You'll have to be mad in this country. Not me, Mickie K. God bless.
Well said. God bless, Senator. Get some rest. Thank you so much. Well, folks, you heard it. UNC Senator Anna Roberts right here on The Observer next week, Sunday. And he's right. We didn't just get here like that. This was well orchestrated, well planned. The mass media, and of course, the more we talk about it, you know, shows like The Observer, and of course, we know the Ground Report that basically give birth to so many different shows. You have Heavy, Brother TC. You have so many people, workers' rights platforms, and they are begging. We are all begging because, listen, airspace is not free. It's not free. Even when you're there doing it, of course, on Facebook or doing it or wherever, it is not free. So please understand, you're not going to get it in any of the media outlets. You're not going to get the truth. It's not going to be undiluted. It's not going to be raw. It's not bringing you to the core points. It's not bringing you to the facts of all that has taken place from the genesis of to where we are now for you to connect the dots. They are not doing that. You ask yourself, why do they even go to these press conferences if they're basically not going to ask the important questions in our behalf? Who's representing us? And so when these shows ask for assistance, they really and truly need assistance. Understand that. Everybody wants change, but nobody wants to put change to make the change happen. So it makes you wonder sometimes, what are we really doing? You know, we're going to take some calls. Give you some room because I have some news for you. I tell you, this is how nasty, this is how dirty it's going to get. And this is the reality. We were scheduled to talk to the first vice president. You know Felicia Thomas. She's been here. We've been talking about this election. It's carded for tomorrow. We're also going to talk to Mr. Wallace, who is vying again for general secretary. But right now, everybody is in an emergency meeting. Why? Because one of the individuals who had to carry out the work is now complaining about the work that he had to do, his responsibility. So he has to be an agent of whom? You know it, you could finish it. It starts with a P. You know quite well. This is how nasty and dirty it's going to be. Everybody has to be rushed into an emergency meeting now because all of a sudden on the eve of the PSA election, you realize that things are not going your way. Things are not planning out the way how you planned it out. You try all kinds of things, but it didn't work. Because the Sacrosanct team leading the way. They're going everywhere. Tobago, they're here, they're in South, they're in the West. They're everywhere talking to public officers, letting them know that, listen, forget the 4%. It's either 10% or up or nothing. And what they realize is that it's gaining traction. So here it is now. Somebody is trying to play some dirty trick. And this is what we're going to see, especially when it comes to the general election. They're going to throw everything at us. They're going to try to muddy every name, tarnish every individual. But of course, you know that. It's Sunday. And I know you want to put your fingers to dial. So 225-9790. And if you have via WhatsApp, 461-3965. That's 461-3965. We're going to take your calls before we, of course, take a break. But that is the reality, and you heard it, of course, from the senator. You heard it from the public relations officer earlier this week, which, of course, is Dr. Kirk Megu. He made it quite clear that they expect the most nastiest things. And people going around asking anything about when the candidates will come up, when the candidates will come out. Next Sunday, the PNM is bringing out a whole bunch of candidates. And ask yourself, among those candidates, who are these people who were there when the babies were dying in the NICU? Yeah, they're candidates. When money is missing and an auditor general has to raise the alarm because something is wrong, yeah, they were in the cabinet. When in fact that food prices have gone up, yeah, they was there. They too are candidates. Everything that has gone wrong, who they presented next week Sunday, has been there when all the wrongdoing was taking place. So don't worry about when the UNC bringing out their candidates. The candidates that you have to be concerned about is the one next week, that they have the audacity to bring them back after they destroyed Trinidad and Tobago. That's the question you have to be asking yourself. We're going to take calls again, 225-9790, 461-3965. For those of you, of course, I know you're trying to save some money and trying to keep your head above water. So we're going to take a quick break, come back, and take your calls. Over to you, Master Control.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
PSA National Election 2025, Monday, March 10th. Only one team is united in preserving the sacred rights of workers. Only one team stands for the right for PSA members to work. Only one team stands for the right to permanent jobs. Only one team stands for your right to maintain a standard of living. Only one team stands for your right for job security. Team Sacrosanct. Vote Felicia Thomas and Team Sacrosanct in the fight to protect equity, fairness, and job security. Team Sacrosanct, committed to union representation and collective bargaining. Monday, March 10th. Vote for Felicia Thomas and Team Sacrosanct. Your vote matters. Your rights are sacred.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Mitlin Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Mitlin stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel, and topsoil. Also check out Mitlin for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Mitlin.
The Excel brand delivers quality service.
I would recommend Omega Excel to everyone.
Take care of yourself, take care of your health. It's Omega Excel.
If Omega Excel works for me, it will work for you.
Over a period of time, I started feeling stronger in my knee where I could put hard.
Thank you so much, Master Control. Again, the lines are open, 225-9790, 461-3965. Good evening.
Good evening, Mikey.
Hey, good evening, Mike.
Now,
Yeah.
Mikey, I listened to Anil Roberts, but I said something when he was talking about Martin Daly. Martin Daly and these fellas and there's a bunch of hypocrites. They're deep truth kind of people. And I'll tell you what, if we have a country, a democratic country, we talk about transparency, accountability, and all these kind of things. You remember when the UNC, under Pastor Pandem, passed the Freedom of Information Act, Mikey?
Yes.
Do you know that Martin Daly was the one who advised Patrick Manning how to go about having the central bank removed from under the Freedom of Information? Could you imagine that if we want to know about our finances and this man could have the audacity with transparency is concerned, our finances, we want to know about it. And Martin Daly was the man who advised Patrick Manning, and they had the central bank and the Ministry of Finance removed from under the the Freedom of Information Act. This hypocrite they call Martin Daly, them fellas them have to drag and dead, Mikey. But I want to tell these people in this country, the same man who aspired to be Prime Minister, who only PNM supporters and them, rallying around, great is the PNM and whatnot. 4 divers died in the Paria tragedy. The same man who only talk about the Prime Minister, you don't hear him saying a word about it, about this thing. No final conclusion. These families are suffering. They cannot get any compensation. Nothing at all. And you is the Minister of Energy who has the sole responsibility to deal with that issue. You don't hear him saying one thing. But Mikey, look, I have something here in front of me. I want people to hear Thursday, 6th of March, 338 Express. Family, no word on Rick, workers remain. How much, 74 days or something like that?
Yeah.
And they want to tell me that they don't have, they say what? They know where the body is. It's trapped under the rubble and the rig and whatnot. But it is so dangerous to go there, and they hire an international company and all this kind of nonsense. So you want to tell me they don't have underwater equipment, cameras and things, like roofing underneath it, like how they call this thing? They have any Skyman, Mikey?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah. Underwater, yeah. Cameras or
You
whatever.
could have that. And you could locate that. What could they go to find in 74 days, Mikey? Nothing. That body has been shredded to nothing. They might not even find the skeleton. And there's a man, the Minister of Energy, your portfolio, nothing about the 4 divers, nothing about this one, and look at what I heard about it. The man wife had baby.
Yeah.
He had a baby.
Yeah.
And you ain't heard nothing. Only him reach out to the family.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you're right, Mr. Tunapuni, you're right. Just simply so insensitive. No compassion whatsoever.
I hope it's PNM, and who is the people who died as a consequence? It's poor black people. And this man, and Rowley and all of them. I'm telling you, Mikey, let me say this straight. You see Rowley, Short Young, Colbin, Nanan and all of them, them fellas only take it. Them fellas only take, because I will tell you, them can't want to give away the refinery under questionable circumstances. No transparency and non-disclosure agreement and all this kind of thing. They want to sell this refinery because they have money pass, and they know fellas like Jindal and all of them have a track record of that. Understand? That's why them fellas so desperate, because it's something, if this thing come on field, they've got to pass back money around here, them. Money must be paid already, or they deposited in foreign account, because America and them have been saying that it's a politicians, government officials, high officials who have foreign bank accounts. And all this energy beats transaction, and they think that they went to Australia, they went to here, and they sign off on, which we don't know. Non-disclosure agreement. Mikey, money has been deposited into these fellas in an account. And I hope, you see, just imagine that Privy Council ruling. Look at what you were telling me today. The Privy Council rule in favor of the Auditor General.
Yeah.
And nothing is happening. And but them is famous. Is an error. Is an error. We don't want to know about no error. And what it wouldn't. We're making sure we're putting in place that it would not again. We don't want to know what mistake and what happened. We want to get back with blasted money.
Thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate that. You're so correct. You're so correct. We go back with money. Don't let me waste time. You're so correct, my friend. We want back with money. I mean, look what's happening with the whole PSA issue this evening. Yeah, that's how nasty this is going to be. And for those of you who still believe that things are not going to play out and it's not going to be like that and what have you, think again. Think again. I know one man who is on it. Let me say a pleasant good evening to the political leader of PEP. Good evening to you, Mr. Alexander.
Good evening, Mikey. Good evening to all your listeners.
Yes, indeed. You sent out something a little earlier on about the SOE, which there's talk about curfew and all of that. Let me just fill you in as well that tomorrow the PSA election was scheduled to take place. Now apparently one of the officers who has to carry out the work as election officer is questioning his own work. So it's quite clear that he is an agent working for some other, political, we don't know. But apparently one has to ask the question, what is going on here? And I think these are things that we cannot take lightly because it shows that they are going to try every single thing, how nasty, how dirty, how low down, however it will be, to ensure that they stay in power.
The PSA represents about 50% of the public workforce.
Yeah.
Somebody has a vested interest in keeping them off balance. You need to look there. You need to look who benefits from keeping them off balance. An election duly called and duly constituted must go forward. There must be people who have the follow-on responsibility. If John can't do it, Harry should. So that is for the PSA constitution to address, but the PSA needs to deal with that, and the PSA members need to call for transparency in their election handling.
That's right. And not on the eve of it. I mean, come on, you had all this time. Now you're calling for now. Is it that things are not working in the favor of some people? Is it that you want to stick them with 4% because you hear them talking 10%?
But somebody, again, all those with a vested interest have to do is manipulate and corrupt those who they think could control a large amount of people and stick them with this 4% nonsense. This 4% was an insult across the board to every worker, every public worker in this country. We're talking about anywhere between 13 and 37% increase in the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago over the past 12 years. How you get 4% as a rational response to that? How you get that? How does that work? In whose mind did that make sense? The chief personnel officer, his job is to arrive at a sensible response where the workers are concerned, not to keep workers in bondage.
And you're right. And his job is to also calculate the fact that the inflation rate. So you can't expect these people to wait for so long to get their money, and when they do get it, they have no purchasing power.
But that is exactly it again, Mikey. Because when we're talking cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago is so far from real wages. People talking about why we have crime. We have crime because we are running the country as if the average person could steal to live. We take it for granted. How are people? Look at the politicians. Look at the public office holders that just gave themselves 47%. I am sure they have a justification for the 47%. Somebody needs to buy an extra house in Miami and an extra house in London town, so they need more money. And it's the same thing at the bottom level. The people want to just be able to pay their light bill, their phone bill, their mortgage, their rent. Food on the table, transportation for the children to school. How does 4% answer 12 years of constant inflation? How does that answer?
And that's it. I think you hit the nail on the head, and I've been telling people all along. I think that the elite is so disconnected that, listen, the average man doesn't want to drive your car. He doesn't want to live in your neighborhood. He doesn't want to vacation with you. He simply wants to keep his head above water and have a good living for him and his family. But you can't seem to understand that. You want everything. You believe it's your God-given right to get every single thing. And you will manipulate. And you will do whatever it takes to get it.
When you have public office and you have the power, the collective people power of public office, you must want for them and their children what you want for you and yours. And the quality of life that you want for you and yours, you have to work to make sure that the average person gets. The well-being of the citizens is the reason for government. There's not a reason for government.
That's right. That's right. It can't be that you're getting there and you have to serve a special few that is only concerned about themselves, their friends, their family, their finances. But what about the policies and programs to the people that you promised? The people who went there and stained their fingers for you. The people who believe that, hey, you know what? I have one vehicle now. My daughter's getting of age. We'll be able to afford a next car. The people who have dreams and want things good for their family. What about that?
But since 1966, we're supposed to be getting water for all. Yeah. Since 1966, they're supposed to be on top of the water situation. Trinidad gets 1,000 times more water than it could consume falling on Trinidad for free. You trying to tell me in 67 years we couldn't dig a hole? In 67 years we couldn't dig retention ponds, increase the lake and reservoir capacity beyond what the Queen left? So you're telling me that all WASA job is to sit down there and see if it's raining and see if sun shining? That's their whole job? Because now we're getting reports from WASA to conserve water because rain's scarce. You don't look for water in drought from rain. You look for water in drought from the rain that came the last rainy season, that you stored, that they do in Japan, that they do in Mesopotamia and Babylon 1 million years ago. What is so idiotic about those in office in Trinidad and Tobago that they don't understand something as simple as hydrology and geology? How come we don't know what the Romans knew? The Romans built aqueducts that took water over from valley to mountain to valley.
Yeah.
How could they have done that and we can't?
And mind you, and some are still operating.
Some still operational, brother. There's a famous fountain in Italy, in the center of one of the cities in Italy, that is thousands of years it's running water and it's coming over a mountain to bring that water from Glacier Springs. But the point that you're making and the point that I'm making is the point that people of Trinidad and Tobago have to see that when we say voting have consequences, these are the consequences. The consequences are having idiots in power who pay themselves $150,000 a month to do what? To come and tell us it is drought? We know. We've been living here. We know there's 7 months of dry season, 5 months of wet season. In the wet season, prepare for dry season. You can't learn that yet. How much degrees you have? What do you have degrees in? The degrees can't teach you how to dig a hole. That is the truth. That is the reality of Trinidad and Tobago. It's idiotic.
Yeah, and you have an administration that uses a narrative that is so convenient that it is easy for them to maneuver. I mean, here it is, you're telling people, all right, choose your partner wisely. And that was basically in relation to domestic abuse. Then you're talking about gangsters and so many of the school children that have fallen through the cracks and all of that. But all your deals, it seems to be based on crooked people. You took 26 meetings to come up with a company that has shady characters, that has been blocked from the stock exchange in South Africa and in Africa twice, not once but twice, and only got away because the Italian judge said it was out of his jurisdiction. A very shady thing. You held back the report on dividends to the stock holders because you had to go and see how best you manipulate the numbers and what have you. Isn't that rowdy and only no crooks?
Mickie, the numbers of that company only exist in fantasy.
Yeah.
People have asked what kind of balance sheet is this? You are quoting profits from things that didn't exist in reality. So where the profits came from, it is madness right along the line. And you're correct, you hit the nail on the head. When you have criminals in government, they're looking for criminal to deal with. They're looking for kickback. They're looking for deposit my money in South Africa. I come in to pick it up there. That's how the game is played. That's where our $3 trillion went. That's why Norway has money for the next million years and we're in debt. That is why Dubai and Singapore could be first world nations and we're broken. And Trinidad and Tobago is broken. And the people have to understand. I mean, at some point, you could cross the line from saying how educated somebody is, but everybody has self-awareness and everybody must have survival instincts. And you must know that if I have been voting for you for 67 years and I watched Goodwood Park and Fairways come out of nothing, Fairways was a golf course in Maraval, and I watched Fairways become a multi-billion dollar enterprise. The Gonzalez family built Fairways. acquire a golf course and build fairways. But I'm saying to you, one property in fairways could sell and buy nearly the whole of Beetham. If the people of Beetham can't understand that the value of the circumstances they live in is a direct proportional response to the governance they get in, how do we fix it? How do we get inside people's heads and tell them the money in your pocket has a value? Government controls that value. Inflation is governments to control. The value of our currency is governments to control.
That's right.
How is our money 13% weaker? How is it that if you dig a hole in Trinidad and get 10 US, and if you dig a hole in America and you get the same 10 US, what you could buy with the 10 US in America is 100 times what you could get in Trinidad. So were you telling me we're getting less money and then our spending power is weaker? So
that's right.
So we get hit on both sides.
That's right. And on top of that, to add insult to injury, I mean, after all of that damage, you are coming to tell us next week, you know what, I'm riding off into the sunset, but here is your unelected prime minister. Take that.
That is another thing, and I've been raising this point. Mikey, I don't understand why Trinidad and educated Trinidadians and all these constitutional lawyers are not talking about this. Is it people so greedy that their personal, what they get in their pocket is more important than the survival of their country? Because tell me where in the world have you ever seen this take place other than in dictatorships and banana republics? Who remains as the political leader of a party, step aside as prime minister and put somebody else, and everybody else in the country, the party machinery, the constitution, everything must bow to you? That is insane. There is no mechanism to appoint Stuart Young as prime minister as long as Keith Rowley remains either a member of parliament or the political leader of the PNM. Pick your poison. Because the constitution 76(1)(a) says the person who is the leader of the party that commands the majority in the House. That is Keith Rowley. No matter how you dress it up or strip it down, that is Keith Rowley. He is the political leader. I ask people all the time, when the conversation gets heated, I just ask them this. Who is the leader of the PNM in the House of Representatives? It's the same man who's the leader outside. Keith Christopher Rowley. That is the leader of the party. The Constitution says shall be appointed. It doesn't give the president wiggle room. I am waiting to see on the 16th or the 17th of March if the president of the republic is prepared to violate the Constitution. I am waiting to see what happens next.
Hey, any closing comments? Go right ahead, my friend.
You talk to me, you open with the issue that Fitzgerald Hines call a press conference for tomorrow and Ian Allen put out this thing that he can't curfew. And I said it could never be curfew. You didn't call curfew when the DPP get assassinated Christmas time. You didn't call curfew when a man run in the barn and shoot up a set of people and kill somebody. You call a curfew now when things quiet because one Chinese man gets shot in C3? Nah, man. A state of emergency is a measure provided for in the Constitution for in times of national emergency and natural disaster, to give the government some room, some space to restore and maintain order, to get society back up on its feet. A state of emergency was not created. It's not a mechanism to police the country. If you cannot maintain law and order while observing and respecting constitutional rights and civil liberties, you have failed. Call the election. That's what we need. That's the remedy. Thanks for calling me, brother. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Of course, Philip Alexander. Yes, political leader of PEP. Hey, the lines are open once again, 225-9790. And for your WhatsApp calls, 461-3965. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. And he's correct. I mean, now you're talking about a curfew when so much has taken place. Just for Christmas, one of the, from the office of the DPP, one of the state prosecutors was killed. That investigation is still ongoing. We've had so many things since then. I believe in less than, if I'm not mistaken, Master Control, there has been quite a lot of murders. Yeah. Hello. Good day. Good evening. Go right ahead.
Let me make a contribution again. Do you see on the news that they're telling people to wait for 5 minutes, Mikey? And don't take longer than 5 minutes to have a bath. Could you imagine that in a tropical climate we live in, and you telling people to take a 5-minute bath? But Mikey, I want to comment on talking about the salaries and whatnot. You know who the person they appoint now as the head of the Salary Review Commission? Mikey?
Yeah.
Sandra Marshall. Sandra Marshall was the CPO under the PNM for the longest while. When the price of oil was at the highest under Patrick Manning, that said Sandra Marshall, on instruction from Manning, offered the public servant 000, Mikey. Understand? And I want to believe that they put her there, Rowley and them, in anticipation that they will lose the election, so that when time comes now and the UNC in power, and the Salary Review Commission and they have to perform the thing now, you know, there was no kind of dwindle down, and not give the salary, the anticipated salary that the government will look forward to that, you know.
Yeah.
So in other words, they're putting the things in place. They're putting the people in place so that when the next government comes into power, they will be, you know, solidified. And this is what is happening with people over there. And everything that they do, but Sandra Marshall and all of them, how the hell you for all the years had the public servants and them in this country for how much donkey years, 14, 15, 16 years. You couldn't make them a good offer as the CPO. When Mandy and them came into the government, Mikey, remember they were giving 14 and how much percent, 12%?
Yeah, 12%, 14%. Yeah, you're right.
He wrongly. Let me put this in. I had to put whatever. That dog, you know what he said? And all the trade unions and them were so satisfied with Mandy and them settling the negotiations. Yeah, settling the negotiations. They were glad to get the increases and whatnot. And then Keith Rowley had the audacity to tell the station that the Pandy government put a burden around the government when they come because they give 12 and 14% and whatnot. I know the state public servant, Mikey, when they vote on Pandy, similarly they do the same thing to government for the partnership government. And you know, they could raise the price, they get back pay over that. And when after that, Keith Rowley had the audacity to tell people that the partnership government burden them with how much $5 million deficit that they cannot see to pay and whatnot and whatnot. And some of them, I hope these public servants, all they've been thrown under the bus, you know, because the Attorney General, in his thing with the pensionists, you say there was an error on the part of the public servants. But God made good. When the Auditor General is due, say it's the public servants that made the error. But you know, in the preparation of the budget, you always praise the public servants for the hard work they do in preparing the budget. Mikey, I said that this is downright hypocrisy. Keith Rowley, I hope when the partners come, this government gets into power. It's not just something an investigator, it's a lock up all our audio. It has to be that, nothing else, Mikey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, Mikey. Good evening to you and to everybody out there.
Yes,
Mikey, I want to know if Zami man feel like we are fools in this country. You come in now after you sat down for 10 years, hearing your leader disrespect women, grooming them like a golf course. He didn't tell them what man to bring in the bedroom. I'm sorry to be so graphic, Mikey, but that is how it was. Right? They're telling all these things. You disrespected Mrs. Prasad, predecessor, in the parliament, but you come in to bring laws to protect women against domestic violence? What about all the abuse? What about all the abusing people? For 10 years, all the abusing women and children in this country. And you now come in to fool the people about bringing laws to better the lives of women in this country against domestic violence. Where was this all the last 10 years when women needed that reassurance? Do something for us, and you all did nothing. And now we are hearing also, Mikey, about he coming to bring new laws for social media.
Yeah.
Are we heading into a dictatorship, Mikey?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, people better sit up and listen, take stock about what it is going on, what that man intended to do to this country, you know. And Mikey, I just want to say something. You see, for all the naysayers, right? There's the deaf, dumb, and blind, right? Who say The UNC did nothing in the 5 years that they were there. I want to tell them, UNC did more in 5 years than PNM ever did in all the incarnations. For all that this did. And when they want to come still talk about only we only had 3 days money, go back and listen to Keith Rowley press conference in December of 2015, when he said the country's finances are not insignificant. And Imbert at that same meeting told us that every ministry had an unspent balance of 500 million, including the sports
You're right.
ministry.
You are correct.
And what they were going to. Yes.
You're correct. And on the issue of all this negativity that people are talking about, the UNC taking its time and the UNC, hey, next week you're going to have, sorry about that, next week you're going to have a bunch of people who was in the cabinet in Woodford Square. Why not go and question them? Question them about all the social ills and all the problems we have in this country. But you're trying to find, no, let's stick to the core issues here. Don't worry about candidates. Don't bring anything to distract us, because we demand answers. Money missing, crime, you name it, we deserve answers.
That's right, Mikey. And you have a clown accent for what? You want to see the books of the UNC. Go and ask him about the 3.5 billion that missing. All the monies that cannot be accounted for. PTSD and everybody. Go and ask them that. UNC not in office. And Mikey, let me tell you something, as the days go by, we know it's going to get worse.
Oh, yes.
And we have to remind them about what UNC did while they were in office. They were not twiddling it up. They come like Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley has not built a school in the 10 years that he was there. He didn't even try to repair the walls that Mrs. Pasabi said left unfinished. And even the walls that were finished that got into dilapidated states. But all they coming to talk about UNC did nothing. Look, man, all they go all the way, yes? Thanks a lot, Mikey, and have a good night.
Thank you. Hey, the lines are open. I know that folks trying to get in on the inside. Yes, and you are quite correct. You are quite correct. Trust me. Yeah, all this negative talk about we see that it's going to get nasty. It's going to get nasty. Go ahead.
Hey, Mikey.
Hey, welcome. Go ahead, my friend.
I can see now?
You're on. You're live. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Now, I have a small contribution. Here's what it is. Now, since the last time, the previous AG, he said, well, we don't need a 2/3 majority, we could pass what we want. And he did it, and he passed what he wants. Now, see all our worries about 4% and how we have to pay people and all that kind of thing. That is just not, you know. As soon as the government change, we will use that same strategy, use a 2/3 majority in Parliament, pass it out and take back all the pension, all the increase that they fellows get, all 280, all that. Yeah, and that will be enough money to pay the salary increase and the pension as well. You see what happened? This nonsense about people talking about, this and that, the Friday this and everything. We had that problem before. How does not go for 10 years and do all that thing, and no one will get behind the ball to see something right? None of that. All right. I hope you remember that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's a lot that we as citizens have allowed to take place. But going back to Ms. Santa Cruz's point there, it's going to get nasty. And I've been telling you that from day one. This is not going to be a walk in the park. It is going to get dirty. It is going to get nasty. And you can expect the worst of things to be said. They are going to be trying to attack UNC candidates. And that's what they're looking for, They're basically looking for, let me see your people. Hey, we have issues. We have problems. You can no longer control the narrative. We're not going through that. You saw Dr. Monidal stand up to a blogger because he said, listen, not this round. The UNC is pushing back. They are pushing back. And they have all right to. You're not going to control the narrative. You ain't come to bully yourself. No, that ain't working. People are suffering. People are seeing for themselves exactly that you are a complete failure. You can bring whoever you want, young, old. You can bring whoever, who of course is not an elected prime minister. That's where we reach. That's what they're doing now. They might be pulling straws or playing one potato, two potato, who in, who out. And these are the lives that you're affecting, the lives of the people in this country by you and your games. Your nonsensical, foolish little games. They are going to come. They're going to attack our candidates. They will try. but they cannot control the narrative. Do not allow them to control the narrative. You want answers to so many of the questions. I don't want to hear about who you think about Tuna Puna and what you think about who they go put in Maruga. No. You could try to fool people and put on your big show with your mirrors and your smoke and go in Woodford Square and try to resurrect the spirit of Dr. William. You could do whatever you want as far as you think that makes sense. But we the people have lived for the last 10 years knowing that you're a failure. There's absolutely nothing you can do. You can't pull a rabbit out of a hat. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. You have destroyed our lives. You have made our living bad. And that is what we are talking about. Folks, don't forget, Turmeric XL is a once daily turmeric supplement that allows you to get the benefits of a large dose in a very small, easy to swallow capsule. Turmeric XL contains a proprietary ingredient, ultra-curcumin, which has been shown in humans to increase the levels of bioactive curcumin in the blood, with 45 times more active curcumin than the competition. Bottom line, go out there, get your bottle of Turmeric XL, and get the benefits of living better. Folks, that brings us to the end of our program. It has been quite interesting. I will keep you updated, and yes, tomorrow morning, God willing, I will be on the ground report. That's right. So look out for that. Have a good one. The action continues. Stay safe.
Mickie K.